Couldn't be happier to welcome in our next guest joining us on the very first Monday of the NFL season. One game left to go, of course, Jets-Bills here in New York. But this guy, I mean, he's a Pro Bowl left tackle, the driving force behind the podcast, Bussin' with the Boys. Will Compton, sorry, I love ya. But let's say hi to Taylor Lewan, who got to enjoy watching football for the first time since 2013. What was that like?
Dude, that was a wild deal. And I kind of woke up. Usually when you play in the NFL and you wake up on week one, the jitters are at an all-time high. You know there's going to be sloppy football play. You just hope that you're not the guy playing the sloppy football. But I woke up like, I don't know, 8:30 Central Time on Sunday, excited. My biggest anxiety was trying to catch as many games as possible. And that was like the biggest like upset of yesterday is like not being able to see everything. I don't know how pros like you do it where you get to watch every single game over and over. And like the intro, I was sitting here listening to you say it like, what a pro. What an absolute pro. But it was incredible, man. I loved every bit of it.
Okay, so but mentally, emotionally, what was it like for you? Was it hard for you to not be out there? Because there's a whole thing happened yesterday where I was like, do we have to go buy champagne for the show and toast his retirement? Do we have to, tell us what's going on with you.
I know. It's such a funny deal because I did the pro football show with Barstool, and the Big Cat's hilarious. The guy's phenomenal. And he's like, hey, tell everybody you're retiring. And I'm like, all right, I'm retired. And I just like said it. But then I also said right after, it's a joke. And then they asked me after, you know how production goes, like, can we post that? Can we not post that? And I was like, you guys can post it as long as the joke part's still in it. Now, Pro Football Show did a great job. And then somebody from Barstool, their social team, went over, clipped it without the joke part in it. So I'm getting blown up by everybody on my phone. And it's one of those deals. It's like, hey, I'm 255 pounds. I'm doing a gambling show with Will Compton called the S&P 500. It's like writing's on the wall, squad. But no, if I'm not officially retired yet at this point, but I appreciate you almost getting some champagne for me.
Is there a reason you aren't officially retiring?
No, there's not like a specific reason right now. I think it's just, you're so focused on other things. We're standing at this new show, S&P. We're so focused on Bussin' with the Boys. So it'll take some time for me. My heart is still like, do you want to play? Do you not? Because it's such like players do all the time, right? We saw it with Brett Favre. We saw it with Tom Brady, where guys like, they say, I'm walking away from the game, and then they come back, 6 months later, a year later, whatever it is. And so for me, I just want to make sure that my heart's truly out of it, because it's hard, man. It's one of those things you can't just wake up and go redo, and you want to make sure that you're not jaded in the process and you're the way it ended and all that stuff. You want to make sure you're truly like just 100% towards your emotions. And as long as I can know that I'm proud of what I've done and I feel really good about it, I'm ready to take the next step, then that's not a big deal. But for whatever reason, it's just taking me a little bit longer than I even expected it to.
Did you say 250 pounds? Let's start there, because
255,
down from 309.
I know, it's wild. It's crazy. And I kind of look at myself like Will's always joking. He's like, you're handsome now. And I'm like, you think, you when you're 310, you get this delusion, like, I'm kind of killing him out here, huh? And then like you see a photo of the old self, and you're like, yo, that was crazy. That was even me. And that was only 6-7 months ago. And now I'm sitting here and I've literally lost a 7-year-old child.
You've lost a 7-year-old child. How long do you think it would take you to get back in playing shape?
3 months. 3 months of burgers and beers. Like it wouldn't be like the most difficult thing. Yeah, it does sound fun, but like as far as like being in shape and like being able to play a game, those 62, 65 snaps, yeah, it would take me a little bit of time for sure.
So maybe postseason, if we do the math, carry the one.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I love the idea of playing the game of like maybe, but there's also this thing too, and obviously like we'll get into week one. Like the Titans had an abysmal week one that was awful to watch. It was even as a fan boring for me. But like the thought of putting on another helmet, another jersey of a different team, it just doesn't sit 100% right with me. Having the history I did with the Titans, like when I got there, you're 2-14, you're 3-13 the first 2 seasons you play, you win 5 games. It's like, yo, what are we doing? Like how do people do this for 10 years? You get to be a part of such a big culture change. And I'm a prideful loyal guy when it comes to that kind of stuff. Probably not for the right reasons.
Wow.
Well, for me, for the right reasons, but from a football standpoint, a business standpoint, you shouldn't be like that. So if there's football players listening to me, like, don't be like me. I just unfortunately am like this.
I think that's really amazing that you're like that, and I can't imagine you were happy watching that game. I mean, they fought tough, falling to the Saints 16-15. They had chances like the whole game. I can't imagine you were pleased with this play, right? They thought they had an Arden Key strip sack and a Kevin Byard return for a touchdown, but the play was whistled dead, and it was ruled incomplete, even after review. What?
I know. What? That's just bad by the referees. That should have absolutely, like, they should have let that play all the way through. And then a perfect example, you want to put the Titans back in it, Thursday Night Football against the Dallas Cowboys late in the season last year. This same thing happens to Josh Dobbs, and they let it run, see if it's going to be a fumble, see if it's not, and then this all happens. Like, that is a fumble. That's a game changer. That's a touchdown. If I'm Kevin Byard, I'm pissed. If I'm Key, I'm pissed. That's could have been his third sack of the day. Well, a second at the time, but would have been his third overall in the day. And it's just like, that could have been the absolute game changer you needed. But like you said in your intro, like, sloppy football is the key to week one. It really was like a fourth preseason game. You watch, the first kickoff between the Titans and the Saints, and you're like, they get a strip sack. They get a fumble recovery, and they're in the red zone, and they have to settle for 3 because the offense just can't get the ball moving. Tim Kelly, he did such a great job at Houston with Deshaun Watson, watching them do the RPOs and manipulating the linebackers in certain situations and getting your runs off that. But Derrick Henry is one of those guys where you need to give him the ball over and over again to allow him to kind of get into a groove. That's why he's looked so good in the fourth quarter, which kind of seems contradictory. Like, oh, he'll get worn down a little bit if you keep going. But with Derrick, he's such a punishing back, and he plays the game so uniquely because he's so big, but he's not over there like running dudes over. He throws a stiff here and there, but he does a great job of, that's brutal. He does a good job of using people's angles against them because he's a lot faster than he looks when he's running the ball. You just got to give him the ball a little bit more until we figure out what's really going on with this offense.
It's really good analysis on your Titans squad. I know you watched a lot of football yesterday, so there's a team that I wish ran the ball a little more. They're called the Cincinnati Bengals. Sloppy, bad weather conditions. When you look at what happened in this game, I mean, we know that Joe Burrow last year had a slow start, and then you look at the revamped offensive line, which I don't know what you make of. I'd love to know. How do we chalk up this Browns and Myles Garrett having Joe's number more than once, and how concerned should I be?
That's such a unique thing because it's like the Cleveland Browns before, like this year, no one was talking about the Browns in the offseason. Like between February and August, no one said a word about the Browns. And like 6-7 years prior, it's like every year the Browns are winning the Super Bowl in the offseason with all the offseason acquisitions they're grabbing and everything. And this year, it seems like no one's talking about the Browns. Deshaun Watson gets a full offseason, gets to throw with his guys. Myles Garrett, obviously, they have a star-studded cast on their roster. Do I think they're like automatically contenders? No, but I think they're going to be a whole lot better than they were in years prior. It's not hard to do that, but they are going to be a whole lot better than they are in years prior. And for the Bengals, man, it's like, it's wild. Anytime Jamar Chase has like 39 yards of receiving and Joe Burrow's running for his life over and over again, the stat sheet isn't going to say how much happened, but like the amount of hits that was taken, the amount of time, especially what you said, revamped offensive line. If you're getting into a situation where your $250 million quarterback is running for his life in certain situations, it's time to start doing some move the pocket type stuff. The Titans, when I was there, had a thing called Lamar and Randall, and it'd be the offense line run this way, and we're booting and faking the run and allowing receivers to get open that way. Q8, Q9, where you kind of get the offense line and everyone moving the pocket, and quarterbacks on a timing, throw it in this 4-step. A lot of chips, sliding the line fully to the right and fully to the left. Like, those are the small things you can do to help you when you got 4 guys getting to the quarterback and you can't just do your classic key right and key left, your 64, 65, whatever guys want to call it, in your 6-man protection. It's just not working. And offensive line is such a unique position because it's not like we can have one good player and the rest of them be really bad. You need all of them to, like, the glue and the continuity of the group. And you're kind of seeing that. Like, obviously Brown coming over from the Chiefs, good ball player. He's a little stiff. He can get ran around pretty easily, but like good, consistent ball player for the last 4 or 5 years. You need all those guys to play off of each other and know each other's strengths and weaknesses for for the Bengals to really take a step when it comes to protection, because that's what the Bengals want to do. They're not going to pay their quarterback all that money to hand the ball off a whole bunch of times. And you got the receivers. I mean, you got a back that can catch the ball. Like, that's what they want to do. It's getting that offensive line to gel a little bit more, and we'll see it. The Bengals are going to be fine. But we'll be sitting here going into the playoffs going, Bills, Jets, Bengals, Chiefs, like as we always do. Probably Miami's going to get thrown in there. But, they're going to have that teams we've seen for a while.
I feel like the Browns might just have their number. It feels a little Saints, Bucks, Brady, Sean Payton to me. I think it might be a thing. Of course, in sloppy conditions, the Browns were better equipped to handle that. But when I look at it, it's like the Bengals O-line, okay, so cool. So you can't slow down the Browns pass rush. That's fine. But, you were efficient in the run game, so why not run the ball? 13 carries for Mixon, 33 dropbacks for Burrow. I don't know, I'm not panicking, but if this carries over to the Ravens next week, I'm not going to like it.
Yeah, week one, there's let's let the mainstream media, let's let everybody else go ahead and panic about everything, because that's what everybody wants is the clicks.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what we're doing is it's week one, and you've already said it, I've already said it. It's the fourth preseason game, essentially, that just counts. And some teams come out red hot, like the Dallas Cowboys came out red hot, and some teams fall flat, like the Bengals that we're talking about right now. I agree with you. Coaches, and Taylor, he's a great coach, but if you see that your running back has a hot hand and Joe Burrow's really not getting anything going, go and hand that thing off 5 times in a row, 3 times in a row even. And then all of a sudden that safety starts coming down a little bit. And then guess what? Jamar Chase double move for a deep pass. Start to play the game within the game. They know that way better than me, but they're not on the show right now. I'm on the show, and I'm telling you what they should have been doing.
And we love that you're on the show. We've got Taylor Lewan from Bussin with the boys. I want to ask you about, you mentioned the Cowboys and what they were able to do. They, of course, blanked the Giants. I thought that was super surprising because I didn't think, I don't know what to make of the Giants' offensive line. I'd like you to tell me what that room is like today after your quarterback gets sacked 7 times and hit another 12. What's the conversation?
Oh, those boys are in a dark, dark room right now. Lights are off, candles are lit, and they have a quill and pen right now writing freehand poetry. That's how bad it is over there at the Giants. I remember it was 2018 or something like that. We played the Ravens and we gave up, I'm pretty sure 11 sacks in the game. And we got skunked 23, 28, 0. And it's just you kind of sit there in the fourth quarter and go, oh my God, what happened to us today, boys? And, it's one of those deals. The same thing I said with the Bengals, when things aren't going well and they have that kind of, there's the offensive line's just having a bad day, you got to kind of take your offensive line, no longer make them the problem. Throw way more chips at it, more movement passes, some screens, short, intermediate. I mean, you get down, so many points in the first half. You got to come out of the second half and just throw the ball over and over again. It's a bad deal, but I don't think the Cowboys are as good as they looked, and I don't think the Giants are as bad as they looked. There's some sort of in between. I think the Cowboys are studs, but you said it yourself, man. 1995 was the last time they were a relevant team. I was 4 years old. And so it's just kind of one of those deals where show me, don't tell me anymore. They're always in the media. Jerry Jones has done a great job of making the brand of the Cowboys so incredible to where every year we're taking even me as a player. I did not grow up a fan of the Cowboys. I really didn't grow up a fan of watching football too much. But when you're going through the process and Gage, I feel of course you want to play for the Cowboys. Of course you want to be a part of that. That is what it is. They've done an amazing job there. 12-5 last year and obviously stunk it up in the playoffs. With bad situational football, they just they can't just do it week one. They can't do it in the regular season. We know the Cowboys are good in the regular season. Let's get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And have them be great before we start making opinions on what they're going to be and all that. The Giants, I think the head coach Dabo did a phenomenal job of handling the adversity in his post-game press conference. He did a great job of, the people would ask him, hey, offensive line, pretty trash, huh? And he'd be like, listen, the offensive line's not the only problem here, which is exactly how you should do it. You got to disperse the blame across the team, but then put everything else on your own shoulders. And I think he did a good job of that, showing phenomenal leadership as a head coach. That's the kind of stuff where as a player, I'm going to sit in that game after offensive line had an awful time and egos are going to get in the way. I'm going to start feeling a certain way of these players are going to be doing a good job being, hey boys, we got to stick together. But on the inside, you're thinking, well, it wasn't me, or those plays I had that were bad aren't that bad. As you start to do the question mark game in your head of saying whatever you can to make sure that you're safe in your own mind, that you did all right. And the head coach being able to say, it's on me, and dispersing the blame where a lot of blame could have been centralized in one different area, that says a lot about him, and it's going to go a long way in the locker room too.
So it was 2018. It was against the Ravens. Mariota was sacked 11 times. Zadarius Smith had 3 of those sacks.
Yeah. My God, right?
So, you were in a dark room with a ink thing, writing your sonnets and poetry.
Yeah.
Was the next week? Did you guys just crush it the next week? Because the Giants have the Cardinals, I think, week 2. But is it like a more of a mental thing? Do you could this weirdly have been like the best thing to happen to the Giants? Do you subscribe to that?
No, I think anytime you get skunked and you got a 40-piece put on you, it's never going to be the best thing that's ever happened to you. I love Patrick Mahomes, the way he handled this stuff, but like Pat can talk like that. The Giants can't talk like that. I think. Yeah, you know what? Like, I think there's going to be a lack of confidence in the offensive line room right now. There's guys that are be like, oh, no way, dude. Like, not me. I have confidence. Like, no, brother. Like, that's a tough deal. You give up a sack, a singular sack. There's always a little bit of second guessing that goes in it. It's now up to the coaches, especially the offensive coordinator, to start the game. Like, let's throw some passes, but let's make them short passes. Let's make some 3-step drops where these guys can get in their sets a little bit, throw their hands a little bit, and kind of get a good feel of what's going on. Let's run the ball, get these boys confident, get them a couple of drives of feeling that confidence, because the most stressful part of a game for an offensive lineman is 3rd down and 2 minute, and it's especially 3rd downs early in the game. And just try to get your boys, like, that's the confidence. Repetition is going to get the confidence away for those guys. I can't remember how we did after that Ravens game, but man, it was so abysmal. It's one of those things where you kind of walk into the team meeting room the next day, and the head coach is like, hey, pretty bad, huh, boys? Let's put this one away. Let's get ready for the next game. Because when it's that bad, it's just like, let's just get the hell away from this one. Like, we know it all stunk. Let's just keep moving forward and know we have a whole lot to correct. And that a lot of times helps the whole team.
Our YouTube comments are going crazy about this, but a lot of people are saying ZIY says, I can't wait to see Micah Parsons break the single-season sack record. Is he that guy?
Yeah, dude, he's him. He's him, but there's so many hims out there. Like TJ I believe had 3.
Is he the himmiest?
Yeah, that's a good point, because dude, them boys are freaks out there now. Those guys running off the edge are incredible athletes, and they just get better and better every year. Micah Parsons, like, I've never had the opportunity to play against him, but the dude's got that bend. He's got that movement. He's got that unique movement that you saw out of Von Miller earlier in his career. Obviously, Von's still got it in a lot of ways, but like that bend, that ankle mobility, the way they can kind of like stand up straight and then dip under, and then also transition that speed now into power. Like, he's got some himothy in him for sure. As far as like breaking single sack records, it's so tough, because I feel like what a lot of people don't realize is, as long as the rest of the D-line is playing well, then Micah Parsons can absolutely break the single-season sack record. But if Micah's the only one that's generating buzz over and over again on that defensive front, then it's going to be an issue, because you're going to start sliding to him. You're going to start chipping him every single time. You're going to start doing certain things to make sure, hey, we got to take this guy out of the game. That's why other teams are going to game plan him. So you need those other guys, the interior guys even, and the other guy on the opposite side. You need them to really play hard and play well, to where you're like, man, we love to slide to this guy, but these other 3 guys are dogs too. Yeah. And once you do that, that's when he's going to be able to accumulate those sacks.
Who's texting you? Is it Vrabel trying to get you to come back? Is it Daboll now?
I'm not the most tech-savvy individual, so I don't know if that's making noises or not. But you know, I'm like Adam Schefter.
Okay, I'm going to ask you.
Got reports going on right now.
I'm going to ask you one more. I know that you're a Bakhtiari guy, so let's go with I literally said last week, as a girl from Chicago, if you let the Packers beat you week 1 without this man, without Aaron Rodgers, and here we go. It seems like your buddy David Bakhtiari's picking up where Rodgers left off when it comes to messing with Chicago. What did you make of this?
Dude, there's another text right there. David Bakhtiari, man, David's such a beautician. The guy is truly all time, and like, Very rarely do you see NFL players that you like are having so much fun. And Aaron Rodgers, you said that as one guy. George Kittle's another guy, and then David Bakhtiari is a dude. All right, that's a lot. That's a lot going on here. Let's try to.
It's just so
Yeah.
loud.
I don't know how to turn it off.
So
I don't know. I'm not
loud.
a tech savvy individual. But anyway, David Bakhtiari is seriously one of those cats where you're like, he just has fun and he's got the talent as well. And having able to, he's taking a bow just off the sideline as they're going after a big pick happens, and he's laying down like Rose from Titanic, saying, "Hey, paint me like one of your French girls." Meanwhile, the Chicago Bears have like this wild delusion that all of a sudden they're going to be good this year when they had the number 1 overall pick. It's just, it's mind blowing and it's absolutely beautiful at the same time. Damn it! I'll get this fixed for next week, guys. I swear to God.
No, it's totally fine. Do you think, we had Ben Kurt, who obviously was in that quarterback room with Aaron, and I asked him, like, he made news with saying Bakhtiari will eventually be a New York Jet. Do you buy that?
Say it again.
Do you think Bakhtiari ends up being a Jet at some point in time?
He could be. I think we'll find out a lot today if they're going to need David Bakhtiari. We're going to find that out tonight. Bill's got a solid.
What are you looking for?
Me?
In that game tonight, yeah. Who you got?
Oh, I got the Bills. I think for whatever reason, people have just like forgotten that the Bills were like really good. They're a really good football team, and all of a sudden they're like Bengals, Chiefs. Oh my God, Aaron Rodgers at the Jets now. He's got more talent around him than ever before. I agree, but there's a lot of chemistry that we need to find at the Jets, and we will see. There's an opportunity to be sloppy, and the Bills could obviously be sloppy too, but it feels like the beginning of the year, every single year, like we're always looking at Josh Allen as like the dude. Like all of a sudden he's the Super Bowl. He's a Super Bowl winner. He's the MVP. Week 6 of the season, like no one's touching this guy, and I don't expect that to stop here in this game right here. So I think the Jets are going to be contenders, but I think the Bills are going to win this game.
Oh, well said by you, Taylor Lewan. We appreciate having you. I know we have like a push-up thing to sort out.
Yeah, we got JP Hovey. He does push-up Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Central Time. You do need to come on. JP's a big Kay Adams fan, so I think it would make his absolute world if you were able to come on.
We got to make that happen. You're not good at texts, but I will text you and make that awful piercing noise in the ears of all of the listeners to figure that out. Everybody, of course, knows Bussin' with the Boys. Keep listening to you. Will Compton, congrats, of course, on his retirement. He decided to hang it up after almost a decade in the NFL. So send him our love, and we'll see you next week, Taylor. He's got the Bills winning tonight, people.
I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you, Kay.
Hey, thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest Up and Adams content right on YouTube.